You are not impressive. Just kidding. This isn't about you. It's about me. Look, I don't know if you're impressive or not, but I have been feeling very unimpressive lately. Am I a former gifted kid who struggles with burnout and perfectionism as an adult? Absolutely. Is that a good excuse for not having lived up to my probably unrealistic expectations of what my life should look like at this point? I started thinking about this recently. I mean, I'm always thinking about how I'm not meeting expectations, but like this specifically, because I went back to my college for a film festival, and it's an event that yearly causes me a mild level of inner strife. So some background. I majored in film in college. I'm now a video producer at a university making educational and promotional videos. I'm a Jill of all video trades, essentially. And I'm actively using my degree, which I know in the liberal arts world is kind of hit or miss, but I love my job a lot. I'm not like an Academy Award-winning director or anything, but I get a lot of joy and meaning out of what I do, and because of that job, I have the financial security from it to pursue whatever other creative endeavors I want to in my free time. So at this festival, alumni come back to present films, give workshops, talk about what they're doing, etc., etc. And several years ago, I did pitch to present a workshop on what I do, and the response was essentially a polite version of, your job doesn't sound flashy enough. And on the one hand, I get this. They're running a film festival. They're trying to put the most interesting sounding workshops and guests on the roster to get students to attend. And students are obviously drawn to big names and fancy jobs and companies. When you're in college, you're thinking, what is my absolute dream job and how do I get there? On the other hand, and maybe this is just a product of being a millennial and growing up in a relatively poor rural area where working in film was a pretty rare and difficult career goal, but I personally think it's useful to show aspiring filmmakers all the types of careers that video and the creative arts can be used. It's a chicken or egg problem for me. Do I think it's important to give students a realistic idea of ways they can use a film degree beyond just traditional filmmaking so that they don't think that they're a failure if they're not Oscar winners by 25? Because it's a very difficult career path that honestly requires independent wealth or connections that the average person doesn't have. Or do I struggle with feeling less than because I'm not out in Hollywood directing the next Marvel movie despite my degree, so I want to justify my career path by making the case to students that there are other fulfilling and creative ways to use their degree? This is really just an elaborate example, but the core of it is that I grew up being told I was special and so smart and so talented and so creative, and that all I had to do was set my mind to something and I'd be able to achieve it. And when it came to school, I crushed it. I was top of my class, a delight to teachers, easily got into a top college, aced my college classes, no problems. But because I spent my youth focusing on perfection, I also developed an intense fear of failure. I couldn't do anything, try anything new, unless I knew I'd be able to do it perfectly. Well, as you might be able to guess, this is a problem. Your 20s post-college life are essentially a giant trial and error period, and that's especially essential if you're pursuing a creative career like I was. What could I, I'm Dr. Seuss, could I have done if I hadn't been afraid of failure? Would I have lived up to the special and talented unicorn expectations the adults in my life placed on me? Would I feel impressive now in my 30s? I've been trying to reframe my thinking the last few years with the idea that mediocre is okay. And in fact, maybe preferable. That having a life that is meaningful and fulfilling to you, no matter how society might view it, is what's actually important. Being on a 30 under 30 list might appear impressive, but you're not really deriving meaning from that. Or if you are, it could feel hollow. Like, I'm not saying that being on a 30 under 30 list or winning an Oscar or whatever isn't exciting or meaningful to you. But rather, if you're living your life specifically to be perceived as impressive, I don't think you're deriving the same level of meaning as you would living your life to the best of your ability and circumstances. And maybe those accolades come along with it organically. Maybe not. Maybe you live a totally quiet, unassuming life where you get fulfillment and joy from within. I don't know. This is just the type of stuff I've been thinking about recently because I cause myself so much inner turmoil trying to live up to these perceived expectations that I think others have on me, which really is just expectations I have of myself that I'm doing some mental gymnastics in order to justify. So maybe I'm not impressive anymore. Maybe I never will be. And if that's the case, I have to find a way to be happy and fulfilled with myself. And maybe that's a better lens through which to view the world anyway. So tell me down in the comments, do you have any expectations you're struggling with that you feel others or yourself are putting on you? And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe and give it a thumbs up and turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when there's a new video, which I have successfully been doing 1 video a month this year. So yeah, even if it keeps getting later and later in the month. I will see you guys later. Bye.